about 9 years. I worked on about 4 films. I love the storytelling, the whole process, but I realized that this is not the right medium, and that's how I went into books.
So authors are generally, considered to be super rich. How true is this statement?
I wrote my first book, Once Upon the Tracks in Mumbai.
With the advent of AI, do you think that will also play a role in writing?
She came out and said that I wrote 80% of my book with ChatGPT AI or something. Yeah, she said that. It's unethical, but it's not illegal.
If you to recommend maybe 3 books in 2025, fiction, what would they be? So many people who aspire to be a writer, but they're often not sure what kind of a writer do they want to become. Talk us through some of the challenges that you faced while writing any of your books.
That waiting period, that was very challenging.
Hi Rishi.
Hi.
So we'll start with the first question. Why don't you tell us about your writing journey and how did it begin?
My writing journey actually started from the film industry. So I used to work with Sohail Khan in his direction team. I worked on 3 films with him. He used to write his own scripts. So the direction team was always working with him on the scripts, So it kept us very close to the script and the writing process. And that's what started my writing process, because the direction team started helping out in the dialogues and the screenplay of all the films, and later on, then moved on to books because after I worked in the film industry for about 9 years. I worked on about 4 films. I love the storytelling, the whole process, but I realized that this is not the right medium, and that's how I went into books. So
Okay.
so that's how it actually started. But it started from the film industry, from scripts.
And how was it working with Sohail Khan? And how was it working with or maybe interacting with the Khan family, Salman
It was a great
Khan?
experience because at that time Sohail Khan had just started off his own production house. It's called GS Entertainment. He just finished his first film, Auzar, and then he started Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya. So I started when he started his production house. So we all grew together that way. So it was a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. Really strict, as a boss, but a great person to work with, and the whole family really warm and gracious.
Have you ever got a chance to be up close and personal with the elder brother Salman Khan?
Yeah, because he was the actor on our films, and then I worked on shows with him as well.
Right.
So I've traveled with them, and on one side there were stage shows that they used to do all over, and then the movies. So there were 3 movies. So he worked on 2 of the films. So yes, I mean.
How was your work experience working alongside him, working so close to him? How is he as a person when it comes to work?
He's very focused and he's very warm. He's very gracious. He's just a normal. He's a normal Bandra person. If you know what I mean. He's a very chill person.
Right.
Yeah.
When did you realize that, okay, this is my eureka moment as an author?
What happened was I had moved to the US. I wanted to do my master's, so I had moved to San Francisco. And before starting my master's, I was very used to writing screenplays. And I decided that, okay, I'll write now before my master's it starts, because I had a period about 6 to 7 months, before it started. So I started to write a screenplay, but then it just went into a book. After the first paragraph only, I just said, let's try this as a novel, and that's what happened. And then I ended up, I wrote my first book, Once Upon the Tracks in Mumbai. So it happened over there in America, when I was in California. So it just happened. It was just a transformation, and I really liked the process and the whole exercise. It was something really new for me, and there was more depth, there was more detail, and it was just me and my laptop. So it was a very personal experience and a very fun journey.
How important it is to, I would say, detach from the whole world, or maybe keep your mind space completely free when you're writing?
I live in Mumbai, so over here, silence is a luxury, So you'll have to learn to switch on and off, because there are writers, like who travel out of the city and they go for
Just to write, yeah.
yeah, just to write, and that's great that they're able to do that. I haven't really been able to do that, so I just switch on and off. I try to get my quiet time, and I have to steal time here and there, but you just have to learn to go on off, because life here in Mumbai is so busy, it's so noisy. So
So in today's day and age, what do you think is, as an author, what would you prefer? Do you prefer the traditional publishing method, or would you go for self-publishing?
I think the traditional method is much better because as an author, because you're able to get your book in more hands, and the publisher also will take care of some of the marketing for you. They already have a full list of readers, and they have the connection with the bookstores, and they have the networks with the literature festivals and all over. So you get a lot of backup, a lot of help from the publisher. When you self-publish, then you have to do the marketing yourself, which is really challenging. Like in a movie, if the producer tells the director, okay, that you made this film, but now you do the marketing, uh, they don't have the resources or the know-how, so it can get a little challenging when you self-publish. But if you have your marketing in place, I think it's okay.
So for a budding author, if they want to go to these traditional big houses, what is the correct way to reach there?
Well, you can connect with them directly because our country is one country where many of the publishing houses they take submissions from authors directly. Most other countries you have to go through agents, but over here in India we have agents. If you don't, if you aren't sure of your manuscript in the sense you're not able to get to a polished version, or you don't have the know-how or the reach towards the publishers, then you can always go to an agent. We have a lot of agents. My agent is a book bakers, and they represent my book, and they save me a lot of time, because they take care of everything, all the communication to the publisher and the contracts, So agents are all around. If you don't want to do it directly with the publisher, you don't have the patience, then just go to an agent.
Right. Do they help fast track the process?
It depends on which agent you have because there are some agents that have a few authors, but there are some agents who have a lot of authors, and when they have a lot of authors, then there's a lot of backlog, so your book will get into line, it gets into that line and then it gets to the publisher and then it goes in that line. So it depends on which agent you have.
So, what is the average turnaround time once you've finished your manuscript and I think you're ready, and then you maybe email it to the publishers, or you maybe physically give it to them, or you hand it over to your agent? What is the average turnaround time?
It can take any time from 1 year to 3 years. So it really depends on how fast your process is, or like if you have a non-fiction, then you have a much better chance of coming to the market much earlier because non-fiction's on demand. All these biographies or cookbooks, anything based on relevance. Because those catch a lot of interest and those sell much more than fiction.
So, how does one manage their finances during this time of waiting?
You have to have something in place, and a lot of authors, they have day jobs or they have savings or investments, but they know that it's not going to be their primary source of income for some time.
Right.
It's going to take time.
So, authors are generally, considered to be super rich. How true is this statement?
Well, I'm not. I'm not at all.
But
So
there's
I don't know
this
any of those authors, but I know that most authors, they're stable in some way.
Right.
They are stable in some way, and they have to steal time. Like they go to work the whole day, and then they keep the weekends free, or they take an hour a day. But those authors who you're talking about, they probably live in the West. Not over here.
So, see, this is a purely passion driven profession. So, how important is to keep oneself motivated? Because if the funds don't flow, if they're stuck in the finances, how do you keep yourself motivated to keep on writing despite knowing, अरे भाई मेरा bank balance शायद खतरे में है?
You have to push yourself and just you have to have your goal really clear. If you think that okay, I want to be a writer, your approach towards your work is going to be really different as opposed to thinking that I want to write. You should like the activity and get into the activity and understand, that whatever you are going to get from this book or from this effort is going to take time. So if you don't enjoy the process, if you don't like to tell stories, and you're trying to force yourself to get a book out, it's going to be very challenging then to motivate yourself. But if you love what you do, then obviously you don't have to motivate yourself. It just happens.
Right. And how often do you face writer's block?
I face writer's fatigue, like for example, I just finished a book now, I need a break. I understand that there are authors who set aside you 1 hour or 2 hours per day, and they go at it with discipline, but I'm not able to do that, so I need to take breaks between books. The block, I don't really get the block, because I want to write more, but I'm not able to find time.
Right. So if generally if somebody does get a block, what do you think is the right way to combat that?
If the author is an author who's published before or written something, where they've got a lot of positive feedback from it, just go back to that book and start reading it,
Right.
and that will motivate you that, okay, I wrote this and I got this feedback for this, and if I wrote this 2 years back or 3 years back, I I'm writing much better now, So I think, that you can motivate yourself by reading your own work and see that, okay, I did that.
Right. Suppose if one of your books was supposed to be made into a movie, who would you want to play the lead role?
That's up to, the director and the casting director,
You don't
but
have a personal choice.
no, not at all, not at all. I mean, the first book, Once Upon the Tracks of Mumbai, Irfan Khan, the actor, he wanted, like he was looking at taking the book up, but then he changed his mind because he was turning a producer then, and he changed his mind because he produced another book, another film, I think, with Meera Nair, and I spoke to him once also, and he said that, okay, I'm not going to take the book, but it really depends on the director, or the casting director. I would like someone, I'm like a Ranbir Kapoor, I mean, just somebody top notch, but never know.
So, with so many people who aspire to be a writer, but they're often not sure what kind of a writer do they want to become. They like writing, but they're not sure whether they want to be an author, and then they want to go into screenplay, or they perhaps just want to be a content writer.
Sure.
How does one understand oneself? Okay, this is my calling, or this is what I should do.
I think the
Because
most
every genre is different in
yeah,
writing.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you write, or if you want to decide what kind of content you want to write, see what you like consuming. Do you like to read books? Okay, if you like to read books, what kind of books do you like to read? Crime books. Okay, so if you like to read crime books and you're learning from there, you'll be a better crime writer as compared to the other genres because you have
Right.
more experience. Same with screenplays. I mean, what do you like more? So I mean, if I like to read books and I have to write, I would like to write books. But if I like to read content, I would want to work over there.
Right. So, in your experience, in India specifically, uh, what is more, valuable? Is the quality of the book or the quality of the content of the book is more valuable, or the network is more valuable for the book to succeed?
Well, the sales is the most valuable because
Right.
in publishing, numbers speak louder than words, but your marketing is the most important, because if you have a decent book and you market it well, it'll pull through. But if you have a great book and there's no marketing, then it's going to be like an uphill task to get your book out there in front of people.
Right. And what's your take on the concept of literary elitism in India?
I don't know what that is. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know what that is. If you mean um, literary snobs, if you mean something like that, everybody has their own circles and the different kinds of books. You basically so people they stick to their own books and their own public figures and literary figures. So I think there are circles like that, but those circles, they stay within themselves.
Right. Uh, Talk us through some of the challenges that you faced while writing any of your books.
When I wrote my first book, I was in the US, and when I turned it to publication, I turned it to the US, to all the literary agents over there, because over there, you have to go through an agent,
Right.
not directly
Okay.
to the publisher.
Right.
So I got about 150 rejection letters,
Wow.
and one agent told me that, your book looks good. You're for the Indian market, and it's booming there, it's just picked up, and that time, this whole wave, like hadn't really come about, where the books, the market, it was flooded with books, that time there were just a few authors, like who just come in,
Right.
and she told me that, look at the market there because the content is from there too, and it'll pull through. So I took her advice and I wrote, and I wrote you to publishers here, and I got. They got back to me like really soon, in 1 or 2 months.
Wow.
3 publishers saying that they wanted you to publish me. But that waiting period, that was very challenging because for 2 to 3 years I had to wait. So
For them to publish it.
no, first I wrote to all the agents in the US, and that took about 2 years because some of them take 3 months to reply, 4 months to
Right.
reply, and all of that, and then waiting you for the book to get published also. Yeah, that takes time. So it was a long wait for the
What's
first.
the story behind your book, I Am Mumbai, and why did you decide to tell the story of?
I Am Mumbai is a story. See, the main crux of the story is that all of us, we have some obstacle in us, some shortcoming that we perceive within ourselves that prevents us from going after our dreams. You're thinking that we're not good enough or we don't have it in us. So in I Am Mumbai, the obstacle is stammering. The main character, he stammers, but he wants to be an actor, and to be an actor, you have to be able to speak. So the main thing behind this book was is that if you just conquer that fear and just try to pass it, there's a lot waiting for you out there.
Right. Even your book, Hi-Fi in Bollywood, it gives a peek into the glitz and glamour of the industry.
Right.
So what is your take on the reality and the reality versus what is there in the book?
See, the thing is that I worked here on 4 films,
Yeah.
and my experience was really positive because I was working with quality production houses and very good people who were very serious about the work, very well respected, and had a lot of goodwill in the film industry. But on the other side, there is an underbelly, which I am aware of. I hear about it through friends. I've met people over there also, and that is really sad. That goes on, that happens, and it can be really tough for some actors, like who get caught in working with the wrong kind of people.
Could you talk us to some of those incidents without obviously naming
No,
anybody?
you're like the casting couches, that is over there basically. And then some people, they come to Mumbai for work, to become actors and actresses, but they don't have their savings in place or their support from home. And then they end up, doing the wrong kind of things, just to be stable. And then they get stuck in that, and, stuff like that, where you see people coming in with a lot of hope, but then it just, the reality over here for them is very, very different. So I believe that if you come over here, any profession, you should give yourself a deadline and have a kind of backup. I mean, I know that you should go you straight for what you want, but you have to be very practical here because the thing is, there are so many people who are coming to Mumbai and coming to do the same thing that you're doing. So luck is also a huge factor.
Right. So people who want to enter Bollywood, who are from outside, who don't have a backup, how aware should they be of the crooks around them?
See, the thing is that if you start off the right way, like if you want to be an actor and if you train at the right places, like there's NSD and there few
FTI,
other places, like all over. You train at the right places and then you get the right network. And then when you come to Mumbai, you have your network there around you. You're not alone. And all these actors, they all help each other and they all move up together. If you just come from scratch, I mean, from nowhere, with no acting experience, with no network, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be extremely challenging. So it's always better you to come in the right way. Whatever you're going to be doing, train yourself in it.
Right. And do you ever insert yourself as a character in your novels?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm there just somewhere or the other. I mean, if you can give yourself the spotlight, then why not, right?
So, has it ever happened to you that you've written a book and it's published and it's not doing too well? And has it ever impacted you?
Not really, actually, I mean, the first time that happened, it's just something that you just go with because you know that you have your next book you're coming out. So the thing is, a book is not done really well. It's just not done as expected or as as you would have thought. It disappoints you, but not to the point of depression or anything like that. It's a part of the business.
How was how did you feel when you have also featured on Sudha Murthy's book?
Oh, that was. I mean, I was overjoyed, because she selected you one of my stories from about thousands of stories
Right.
all over
Right.
the country. Penguin had opened up this competition for real life stories, and mine got selected in her book, and I was thrilled. I was really overjoyed. That is one of my best achievements in writing, I consider it.
Right. And what do you think is the biggest challenge in writing a short story versus writing a novel?
Writing a short story is that your story has to be really really powerful, because you have the reader for only so many pages, and you have to grip them from the word go. So you have to have really powerful content, your theme, your plot. It has to be like really top notch. Otherwise, if you lose them in the first story, then they're not going to read you the second or third or fourth story if it's a book of short stories.
Right.
In a novel, you have time. You can keep the reader engaged, throughout, till you take them where you want them to go. So I think short story, you have to be like really specific, and you have to really concentrate.
As a reader, not as an author, are you a fan of fiction or non-fiction?
More of fiction, because when I read, I like to read more dialogues. In non-fiction, it's more essay kind of format.
Right. Right.
So that loses me after a while. So I
If
prefer.
I have to ask you to recommend maybe 3 books in 2025 fiction, what would they be?
Well, I recommend all three of mine. But I
I'll rephrase that question. If to recommend 3 books of not your books, what would they be?
all over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I would recommend crime fiction. Donna Leon. She's a crime fiction author, and her books are based in Rome. They're very interesting, and there's an Icelandic author also, Indrid Arnoldsson. I don't think I'm pronouncing correctly, and he writes crime fiction as well. And there's Paul Auster in New York. He just passed away, but I like his writing as well.
Right. And which other Indian author do you like apart from yourself?
There's so many books that I like, but author. Well, I just finished one author. If I can't remember his name. I think it's Abhiroop Mukherjee or something like that. Like he's based in Scotland, but like his books. He's based in the UK, but his books are set over here in Calcutta, and
Okay.
I like his books a lot. I think I
Right.
got the name incorrect, but
Right. And how important do you think is the role of literature in shaping social change?
it's important, because your writing, you should have some purpose as well. So when you write books that are contemporary books, that are set in today's time, then to give it a sense of reality, you have to bring in some social issue, because people identify with times or years, eras based on what was happening during that time.
Right.
So I think the writers can do that, and they do try to do that, because there is something that is bothering them about the way that society is working now, and they do bring it in their books invariably.
Right. Oftentimes we've seen, that books which have been maybe converted to cinema, them getting more limelight, being in the picture for a longer time, getting a lot of praise. Uh, does it affect the author in a negative way?
Not really, actually, because the author, the book always comes out first, and the sales, they boom. It becomes popular.
Okay.
Only when the book is popular, then it gets picked up here for a film.
Obviously.
Never happens all side by side.
Correct.
So by the time the film comes out, the book has already made all of its sales. So the thing is that they're not going to lose sales. Because everybody's already read the book. And there are a lot of people, a lot of viewers, that if they really like the movie a lot, they'll go back and buy the book.
To
So
go
it's,
to read it
yeah,
again.
so it only helps the author, because it brings the author's name out,
Right.
and then the readers, if they really like the film, then they'll go back and read the author's old books or new books or whatever.
Right. Have you read Harry Potter?
I read the first one, but I
Right.
couldn't read beyond that, because I saw the movies first,
Right.
so then I couldn't read the books.
Okay. So you've read the first book, and I'm sure
I've
seen
seen the
film.
movies, yeah. I've seen the
Okay.
movies.
So if I have to ask you, so I think the first one was Chamber of Secrets, if I'm not
I don't
wrong.
remember the name. It was a
Right.
long time ago.
So if I have to, if you remember, if you have to ask you to compare the book versus the film, the first one which you saw,
Sure.
which one would you prefer?
The experiences both are very different, but
Right.
the film, obviously, what's great about the film is that it's visualized for you.
Yeah,
you
because
know
just to cut you, because
Sure.
there are purists who believe that the book is the best, and cinema has kind of ruined the entire thing. And there are obviously the cinema lovers who think no, it's the cinema which has given us this entire grand experience. So whose side are you on?
See, the people who I know who are fans of Harry Potter, they're fans of the book and the movies. I've rarely met people who like you one or the other. But if I had to choose between the two, I would choose a book because the book is actually it's where it starts from. Like it's you visualize that in words. Every sound, everything that's happening, to visualize it in words, it takes a lot of genius, and it engages all your senses. So for me, reading the book is more enjoyable. But then when you watch it in film, you get all the special effects, and that experience also is very different.
Right. What is your take on ghostwriting?
I I mean, I don't know. I don't know why people who want to be writers and who want to be authors hire a ghostwriter. Do it yourself. I mean, if you want to write, like I said, the process of writing, you should like the process of writing. If you want to be an author, you know, if you want to be an author or you want the life or the recognition or something, it's not going to last long if your quality of writing is not consistent. If you ghostwrite, you may ghostwrite you one book, but the second
Exactly.
book will go to somebody else,
Exactly.
and there's no consistency. So if you don't like the process of writing, of storytelling, then why ghostwrite? And if you are going to ghostwrite, I mean, there are some stars and all who've come out with the biographies, autobiographies or whatever, which they have not written, but they have given you the credit to the other person as well. Both the names come in the cover, but there are some people also, who don't want to give that credit, and that is not correct.
With the advent of AI, do you think that will also play a role in writing? Adversely,
Well, see, the thing is, I'm not really sure how to use AI in writing you completely, but people who use it to write their book, and it's happened all over the world also.
Exactly, yeah.
People are doing it. I think those kind of books, you don't have a soul, you know. If you are writing something and you need help with the punctuation,
That's
or
fair.
changing a few
Yeah,
words,
yeah.
the voice is still your own, The book, it's going to have your heart and soul, AI, what it's going to give you is good writing, but I don't think the readers will be able to get immersed in it, So I think that AI will help you till a point. It's there you to help an author, but it can't do the author's work for the author. Not at all.
And what about people, as you just mentioned, who are actually writing whole books with the help of AI?
There's one person, there's one author, I forgot her name, but really recently she won a prize. I don't know if it was a Man Booker Prize or some other prize, but she came out and said, a very top level prize. She came out and said that I wrote 80% of my book with Chat GPT AI or something. Yeah, she said that.
Okay.
Yeah, she said that. Because it's unethical, but it's not illegal.
Obviously.
So she did that, but I don't know how she did it. But I don't think it works. I don't think it works.
How much of a role does these literary festivals play, whether it is Jaipur Literary Festival, which is Calcutta Literary Festival? How important are these festivals?
It really depends on the footfall, because the Jaipur one is really, really popular. And what helps the author also is visibility. Those who are speaking over there, those who are not speaking on panels, even if they are just there in the audience, they are networking, they are meeting people and publishers. And it helps your book sales also, because people who come there, they not only come to watch the author speaking or the panels, but they also buy books. I'm not talking about the Jaipur one because I haven't been there, but I've been to the Pune and the Chandigarh and a couple of others. And I think they really help, and they are the need of the hour. Because the readers need a place to come and meet their authors, because otherwise authors are just behind a laptop screen, right?
Correct.
I mean,
Right.
you don't see them anywhere because they're just supposed to be a name. I mean, you don't see them so much on on podcasts or
Yeah, yeah.
on interviews.
Right.
So for readers, yeah, this is good.
And how do you think social media in today's day and age should play a role in the author and the readers?
Well,
And just to add, uh, should every author be on social media?
see, I'm on social media, but I want to get off social media because for me, I mean, I've realized, that the main purpose of social media or the main way that it works is that if you have something to sell, then you should be on social media. If you're an author and you have a book, and you are writing, you are publishing, then yes, it's good to be connected to the readers, because the thing is, you don't want to lose your readers between two books. You want them to be in touch with
Correct.
what you're doing, what you're
Correct.
writing,
Correct.
anything that keeps you in their senses. I mean, in their awareness, And social media, I think, for any person who has any kind of business, also, I think it really helps to be in social media.
Right. Uh, what would be your key advice to aspiring authors when they are starting off?
You just keep writing, basically, and most importantly, keep reading. Because if you're reading good books, your writing is going to turn out well.
Right.
So keep reading and keep writing and keep reading the books that you want to write, the genre that you want to write,
Right.
and go step by step.
Right.
Because you will find a publisher. If you write well, you will find a publisher. It takes a
Right.
little time, but just keep at it.
Right. My final question would be, are book sales declining with the massive growth of smartphones, social media, consuming content on the go? There's hundreds of apps these days. So, is that having an adverse impact in book sales? Is the readership going down? Are the sales going down?
See, the sales of physical books, they have gone down because of Kindle. It's more convenient. I read on Kindle myself also. I buy my books over there, and Kindle, they have this library also. That if you are a Prime member, sorry, if you take the Kindle, your subscription for the year or something, then you can read books, that go under the Kindle Unlimited category, But it's taking, so, I mean, your books have come on ebooks and they've come into audiobooks also, because people are not able to invest about your 7-8 hours, engage all their senses and read a book, So I have friends, who on the way to work, they like to listen to audiobooks or before sleeping, So the readership is not declining as such, but
With
it's
the way is
taking
changing.
various forms,
Okay.
So it's going really well,
Right.
and you are competing with films and all this visual medium and all, because that is much easier. But the diehard readers, they're always going to read.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rishi. It was a
Thank you
pleasure
for
having
having
you on
me.
Twisted Truths and wish you all the best for your next book.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.